Hey everyone, welcome back. Kathleen here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about 5 ways to keep your mascara from smudging onto your eyelids or under your eyelids, especially in the summer heat. So first off, you're going to want to start with wiping down your lashes, especially if you use like a sunscreen around your eyes or use any type of eye cream. If you have really oily lids, you want to make sure you go in there with some type of wipe, even if you take a cotton swab, and just wipe those lashes down. Just simply go in there and wipe them off very gently. And then, then just let them dry. So that's number 1. Number 2, you would go in and you want to use an eyelid primer. I'm going to be using this one here from MAC. This is the Paint Pot. This is like one of my favorite primers. It's always in my kit. And go in there and put a very thin layer across your lids. And this is going to create a very thin barrier between your lashes and your lid, so nothing will migrate onto your lid. So this is going to create, an eye primer creates a barrier. So an eye primer is going to create a barrier that's going to prevent the oil from transferring onto your lid. So an eye primer is going to go in there and it's going to create So the eye primer here is going to go in there. It's going to create a very thin, so the eye primer is going to go in there and it's going to create a very thin, so the eye primer, once you go in there, it's going to create a very thin barrier between your lash and your lid, just in case that your lids get oily and you don't want the mascara migrating onto your upper lid or even onto the lid itself. So what the eye primer is going to do, it's going to create a barrier between your lid and your lash so that the oil, if you have oily lids, it's not going to migrate onto your lashes and break down the mascara and also have it like migrate onto the rest of your eye. So yeah, just a very thin barrier, that's all you need. Just a very thin layer, you don't need a lot. I just take this one from Paint Pot. I love this one here from Paint Pot. It's skin tone and it goes on very creamy and then it dries and it sets so that when you go to put your eyeshadow on, it won't crease at all. Next, we're going to go in and we're going to be using a tubing mascara. And this is the one here from Maybelline. It just came out this past April. It's brand new. And for those of you who don't know what a tubing mascara is, it's like these little tiny tubes that wrap themselves around your lash and it prevents the mascara from transferring. Weatherproof and waterproof. And this one just came out. It's called, what is it called? Sky Tubes. And it is in Very Black Noir. And it's from Maybelline. And it retails for about $12. This will resist the sweat, the humidity, and tears. So what I'm going to do, go in, you can see it has this nice little wand. And I'm just going to go underneath there and put one layer. Now I bring it down, right down to the lash line, wiggle it, and then pull it up. This is a nice one. It's not too clumpy looking. It goes on and just really kind of like, it feels like it's conditioning the lashes. So it's very light. Now, if you have super thin lashes that you barely notice, you might want to go in there with a primer. I'm going to use this primer on my other eye, and you can see the difference. So again, comes this. It's like a white color when it goes on, and you simply brush it on. This one is from, what is this from? This is from Essence, and it is called Lash Princess. Now, typically at this point, I would have done my eye makeup. I would have went in there already with my eyeshadow and my liner, and then I would do my mascara. But for the sake of today's video, I'm just really trying to show you how to keep your lashes from smudging in the summer heat. So I would let that dry. And then now we're gonna go in with this tubing mascara, and we're gonna pull it up. If you have really thick lashes, sometimes going in there with a lash primer is not a good idea because what will happen is it'll just make the lashes feel way too heavy and make them look clumpy looking. Bring it down and wiggle it and pull it out. So I really liked it, the lash primer. It went in there and just gave a little bit more depth to those lashes. If you're accustomed to doing your lower lash line with mascara, I would skip it in the summer months because that's usually the culprit, is it ends up underneath the eye. And it also ends up flaking sometimes too. So yeah, if you can, just skip that part. Especially if it's gonna be like a beach wedding or anything that you're gonna be doing outdoors, I definitely would say away from doing your lower lash line. If you have very straight lashes and they grow straight out, definitely go in there with a lash curler and curl your lashes just so that you lift it up and away. That will also open up the eye a bit too. Lastly, what you want to do is go in there with a finely milled setting powder. Take a very small brush, like so, and go in there. Just take your brush and go in there and get some powder on there. You need very little. You do not need a lot. Top off any of the excess and go in and dab that right underneath that lash line. Okay, and that will absorb any of the sweat or any of the moisture that might be accumulating underneath there, which will reactivate the mascara and just cause it to smudge. Avoid going in there with anything too heavy though, because you don't want it to start to look cakey underneath there. So you just want to add just enough so that it causes it to be dry underneath there. I have a bonus tip for you too, and this is the Sky High. This is the waterproof mascara, and it's in the very black. And go in there with a waterproof mascara and just do the very tips of your lashes. Again, we don't want to get in too heavy looking. If your mascara looks great at 8 a.m., but by lunchtime it's all underneath your eye, these 5 tips should help you to stop that from happening. So my name is Kathleen, and I create content for mature women, and I create content around skincare, makeup, and hair care, just for mature women who want to look like the best versions of themselves, but it's more of an effortless, simple skincare and hair care routine and nothing too complicated. So if that sounds like you, consider subscribing.